Engrossed substitute Senate Bill 6239 on third reading and final passage. Remarks? The gentleman from the 43rd District, Representative Pedersen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 5 years ago, this legislature began a deliberate process of moving our state toward fair treatment of gay and lesbian couples and their families. At public hearings, we heard from families denied access to a dying partner in emergency rooms, separated by nursing homes, or ignored at funeral parlors. We heard from families who paid thousands of dollars to protect the relationship with their own children. The legislature responded with a domestic partner registry providing basic legal protections that now cover nearly 19,000 people in our state. I am proud that the voters of the state of Washington became the first in the country to uphold Referendum 71, to uphold these protections for our citizens. Like thousands of other same-sex couples, my partner Eric and I are very grateful for these protections that the law now provides. But domestic partnership is a pale and inadequate substitute for marriage. As a lawyer, I can explain to you in great detail how domestic partnership falls short. In other states and countries with marriage equality, such as New York and Connecticut, a Washington marriage would be legally recognized, just like any other. But domestic partnership has no meaning in their laws. The federal government has begun to recognize, for some purposes, the marriages of same-sex couples in areas such as deportation and employee benefits, but it does not recognize domestic partnerships for any purpose. And there's a web of private contracts that speak only of spouses, not domestic partners. However, it's not as a lawyer, but as a human being that I truly feel the inadequacy of domestic partnership. Marriage is the word that our society uses to describe a committed, lifelong relationship. Teachers, doctors, neighbors, cousins, and as Eric and I rediscovered this past weekend, the software program TurboTax, understand marriage immediately. They do not understand domestic partnership. Yesterday, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit issued its decision in the Perry case, which concerns marriage equality in California, and the Proposition 8 passed there. The court addressed the question of why marriage matters directly, and since most of the members will not have time to read the 128-page opinion, Mr. Speaker, I'm wondering if you'll indulge me and allow me to read briefly from it.
Please continue.
The court said, "We emphasize the extraordinary significance of the official designation of marriage. That designation is important because marriage is the name that society gives to the relationship that matters most between two adults. We need consider only the many ways in which we encounter the word marriage in our daily lives and understand it, consciously or not, to convey a sense of significance. We are regularly given forms to complete that ask us whether we are single or married. Newspapers run announcements of births, deaths, and marriages. We are excited to see someone ask, 'Will you marry me?' whether on bended knee in a restaurant or in text splashed across a stadium's jumbotron. Certainly, it would not have the same effect to see, 'Will you enter into a registered domestic partnership with me?' Groucho Marx's one-liner, 'Marriage is a wonderful institution, but who wants to live in an institution?' would lack its punch if the word marriage were replaced with the alternative phrase. So too with Shakespeare's 'A young man married is a man that's marred,' Lincoln's marriage is neither heaven nor hell, it is simply purgatory," and Sinatra's "A man doesn't know what happiness is until he's married. By then, it's too late." The name marriage signifies the unique recognition that society gives to harmonious, loyal, enduring, and intimate relationships. Close quote. Mr. Speaker, I would like for our 4 children, Trig, Leif, Eric, and Anders, to grow up understanding that their daddy and their papa have made that kind of a lifelong commitment to each other. Marriage is the word that we use in our society to convey that idea. Thousands of same-sex couples in our state deserve the respect and protection from our government that only marriage can convey. And our children deserve to grow up in a state that treats their family with equal dignity. Finally, I want to say a word about my faith. I am a lifelong Lutheran and go to church at Central Lutheran in Seattle every week with my family. The experience of my church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, might be helpful for our debate today and for our state. As the Lutheran Church wrestled with the question of whether to allow same-sex couples to marry, the theme for our discussions was Journey Together Faithfully. We recognized that there were good people on both sides with strongly held convictions, grounded firmly in their faith and their understanding of the Holy Scriptures. We listened and treated each other with respect, remembering that when the debate had concluded, we would continue worshiping and working together. In the end, our National Churchwide Assembly decided that there was room in our church for people of good faith to disagree about this issue. Congregations that wish to marry same-sex couples may do so, and congregations that do not wish to marry same-sex couples are not required to. The bill before us strikes a similar balance. It allows gay and lesbian couples access to civil marriage while protecting the religious freedom of those who oppose those marriages. It protects your freedom no matter what you believe. It protects families and children. And it moves our state closer to the promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all people in Washington. I urge your support.